May 2023.
Sorry, that recording started
Okay.
late.
So I won, I was the number 45 solo agent in the US by Real Trends from the Wall Street Journal. I was in that. I was Buyer Agent of the Year in Realtor Magazine. I've personally sold almost 600 houses and almost $300 million worth of real estate. But my path did not start that way. I didn't sell a single house for 2 years. The first 2 years I was a real estate agent. And then the following 2 years, I sold one house, which was to my best friend. And I always call it like a pity sale. Like she was like, I mean, you need to have a sale here. And so I want everybody to know that really, whatever your path looks like, whatever you want it to look like is exactly how it can look like. And so don't give up no matter how long it takes. And for me, what I always wanted, and the whole reason I became a real estate agent was because I wanted to have my own business. And I was so passionate about the ways that real estate could build wealth, not just for myself, but also for my clients. And I always had this tiny whisper in my head that was telling me I could create single-handedly a 6-figure, and I ended up getting to 7 figures, had clients coming to me, so not always hustling and always having to be on and always having to be networking and having to be like the realtor all the time. And I wanted to build a business and a life that gave me all the money that I wanted to make and all the time freedom that I wanted at the same time. And to me, that path did not look like a traditional team. So we could talk and have a whole class on traditional teams, but for me, that was not the path. And so when I first started in real estate, I thought this is what being a real estate agent was. I thought you just kind of got clients and you just sold them houses and you got paid a lot of money and you had a Mercedes. Well, that did not happen to me. Doesn't happen to the majority of real estate agents. If you look here just quickly, the median, this changes every year, obviously. But for those of you who are newer in your career, you're looking, the expectation I think we all have. When I quit my big PR, I had a big PR job. I was hosting parties for people like Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire when Spider-Man came out. And I thought I was going to make big buku bucks as a real estate agent. I didn't. I made zero. But here, when I looked at this expectation, I had the expectation that I was going to make so much more, but the average person makes less than $10,000 their first 2 years. And here's the saddest statistic of all. The average agent who has 16 years of experience, average, makes less than $100,000 a year. Okay, so one thing I always say is how long you've been a real estate agent does not matter. What matters is how you do this business. And I have so many agents coming to me. I'm also the founder of a school called Agent Grad School, where I teach real estate agents how to have a business like this. And they come to me after 15 years and they're like, why don't I get this yet? And then this is why, because there's always something missing, these 6 pillars of a 6-figure real estate business. And so I'm going to walk you through today, all of them, what happens when you have them in place, how to know when you have them in place correctly, what the results should be, what happens when you don't. So you'll be able to self-identify, where is my hole? How do I plug it? And how do I become one of those producing agents? Now, one thing I love about EXP especially is you've got another avenue for making 6 figures, 7 figures, but it all hinges on one thing, which is producing agents.
Yes.
And so somebody has to do the production. And to me, this is the easiest, best way and the only way to consistently make 6 figures as a real estate agent and have a life and not need a team. And then maybe be able to open up your life to things like EXP so you can grow a big downline and all that stuff. Okay. So that's what we're going to go through today. And I want to show you a little bit about the impacts and what happened once I figured out these 6 pillars. So this is what my business looked like. So I don't even have like 0 to 1 was like nothing. And then slowly but surely, and this is when I started doing what everybody else was doing. I was exhausted. I gained, I think 50 pounds, probably more like 70 pounds. I had a ton of health issues. I was working all the time, but yet I was successful. And then guess what happened? The big market crash of 2008, and my business was failing. Okay, so I started looking outside the real estate industry and saying, what are other people doing to be successful in this recession type market? So, and so it took me a couple years to figure out these six pillars, but once I figured them out, put them in place, my business completely took off. That's when I won all the awards. That's when I opened my own brokerage. I was with huge national companies. I was always the number one agent. Finally opened my own brokerage. And it all is because of this. And so the reason that this is so important is because the minute that you have control of your business and your life, you have control of everything. It's how you attract the whole reason like I'm here is because I was able to do that in my business. The whole reason Cari is here is because she was able to do that in the business. And even if you don't want to be the producing agent, you want to have agents be producing under you. So if you're like, this doesn't make sense to me, this is something you should share with the people that are underneath you. And so I always say building a real estate business is kind of like building a house. Truly, there's the inside, there's the outside, there's all sorts of analogies that I won't go through today. But I want to be clear with you the type of blueprint that I'm giving you, the type of house today that I'm teaching you how to build. First is consistent 6 and then multiply 6 figures per year. When you're ready to get to 7 figures, there's a 7th pillar that we have to talk about. But what we want to focus on first, and this also happens, so many agents I see skip to not being successful themselves and then all of a sudden skipping to a team. And I tell all those agents, first you got to get your business solid, and then you jump into the team. Okay, so this is how you do that. You have this process will help you have clients coming to you being known for something instead of you chasing them all the time. Super profitable. We're not spending hardly any money. What I teach and what I'm teaching you today is possible under $100 a month. $100 a month for the tools. And then you have, what this does is create enough time for you outside your business and no team needed unless you want one. And there's pros and cons to teams that I won't get into today. I'm not anti-team. I'm just like, is teams right for you? And is it the right time for you to build a team in your business? Okay. So here is what it looks like. In order to have this happen, you need all 6 pillars. So we're going to attract people through our marketing. We're going to convert people to our clients, from leads to clients with our initial consultation. And we've got to deliver upon our promise, create a wonderful experience for our clients so they want to use us again. They want to tell everybody about us. And it feels different than what they thought buying a house with a real estate agent is. And we've got to manage the process in that under contract phase without spending too much time or too much money. And we've got to continue to serve our clients, which then attracts more clients. And then all of this sounds like a lot, you might be saying, and it is. And that's why we have that 6th pillar, which is automation, freeing up your time, because really real estate is it's just like copy, paste, repeat, repeat, repeat. And yes, there's little nuances here and there, but generally speaking, the process is the same every single time. Okay. So let's dive into the marketing you phase, the attraction phase. And this is where you can pull people in like a magnet, because before you sell a house, this is what I did not get for so long. You have to sell clients on why they should choose you among all other options, all other agents, all other, selling to their neighbor, selling to their brother, and also not doing anything at all, which is what right now this market is giving people an excuse not to buy or sell. And so your marketing has to be so magnetic, so perfect, that people not only want to move forward for themselves, but they want to move forward with you. And here's the biggest mistake that almost every single agent makes in their marketing, that creates, that like repels people instead of draws people to them like a magnet. And it's looking like every single buddy else. This is what our clients think that real estate agents are. They think that we're all the same. They do not understand what makes Cari different than Peter, than Sarah. They do not. Your job is to make sure they understand why you're different, when they should choose you, when they should refer you, and when they should come to you again. Okay? Clients cannot choose us. We cannot bring people to us like a magnet on autopilot unless we give them a reason why they should. Your job is to find that reason and then communicate that reason. Okay? So here's what you need to be doing instead of what most real estate agents do. Number one, it's super simple. By the way, everything I'm telling you today, you're going to be like, duh. But the question is, are you doing it? Okay. So number one, you really got to have people understand that you're an agent, and you have to answer that question. Why should somebody choose you among all other options? Okay, stop looking at what everybody else is doing. And it's the only way for people to actually be able to see you and truly choose you and have the opportunity, truly give them the opportunity to choose you. Okay, and all of it starts with you. And so here is the process for doing that. First, you have to answer why. Then you tell people you know. Then you tell people you don't know. And many, many people think they don't know anybody, but then when they start going through this process, they realize how many people they actually know. Okay. And so this is the process to come up with pulling people in like a magnet. The first thing is, who are you actually talking to? And it cannot be everybody, because I'm telling you, when you talk to everybody, nobody's hearing you, nobody's listening. Who feels that way ever? You're like, hello, is this thing on? Like, it's because you're not shouting out to a specific person. Okay. So today, for example, I'm shouting out to agents who want to make 6 figures without a team versus how to be successful as a real estate agent. You see the difference? So as a real estate agent, my who, when I was first trying to figure this out, again, 20 years ago, I started as an agent at 23. I looked about 18. So who was the only people that would listen to me? First-time home buyers. They were my peers. They felt like I understood who they were. And at that time, there was hardly any like young people like me in the business. So in order to figure out who I should be talking to, it took me years to figure this out. But now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, it was so simple. Why didn't I think of that years ago? Because I was in a pool of first-time home buyers. I had just bought my first home. Everybody I knew in my world was about to be a first-time home buyer. So that was my who. The minute I figured out my who, then I knew exactly why I was there, what I could do for them, how I could help them, what to say to them, and where I could help them. It made everything so clear. And many people think that by going small, you're like missing out on a ton of business. And I'm telling you, the number one thing, if there's nothing else you listen to after this, it is hone in on who you're talking to, why you want to help them, how you're going to help them, what you're saying to them, and where you're going to help them. This process brings people to you like a magnet, I promise. I've seen it over and over and over again with agents throughout the country on all sorts of different. We have some people who are focused just on downtown condos. We have some people that focus on people who are buying and selling at the same time, like people who are downsizing, people who are moving across the country. There's so many different things. And one of my students once said, and it's so true, this process of marketing yourself this way is like an iceberg. It looks tiny on the surface, but it is so huge down below. And this is what brings people to you like a magnet. And so here's the next question that you might be saying, which is like, well, yeah, but like, how do I do this? Like, do I do a postcard? Do I post something on social media? And this is what's so brilliant about knowing who your client is all you have to do is go where your ideal clients are. So for example, for those of you who'd want to maybe specialize in downsizers, Facebook might be your jam. You don't even need to be really on TikTok, right? For first-time home buyers, then you're going to want to be on TikTok and Instagram and probably not so much on Facebook. If you specialize in relocating clients or doctor loans, you might want to be in LinkedIn. Those are just some examples. So you go where your client is, but you can't go there unless you know who you're talking to. Okay? But there's so many ways. These are my favorite ways to get started. Number one, your own website. Your website cannot be a carbon copy of what everybody else's website looks like. It has to, when somebody lands there, it has to say it has to answer all those questions. Who are you talking to? Why should they choose you? How are you going to help them? Where do you help them? And let's go do this. Okay, email marketing. Believe it or not, the ROI on email marketing still to this day is 44%. And every dollar that you spend, you'll get $44 back. And Instagram social media is like 28. Okay, so I know everybody wants to do social media and you should, but you have to have an email marketing campaign. And then you reverse engineer it. You go where your clients are. And this is what your business starts to feel like. You just go to the pond where the fish are that you want to eat. Okay. And this is me right here. I'd always say I'm the laziest marketer. I'm the laziest real estate agent because I literally just sit, chill, put my little thing out and they come because you know what kind of bait to put in that pond to catch that fish. Okay. So this is what marketing you, if done correctly, will look like. You stop chasing your clients. You stop paying for leads. People come to you because you give them a reason. Your lead generation soon just literally comes on autopilot, and you get better quality leads that you don't have to convince to work with you. Okay. So here's how to know if your business has this hole in it. Like this is what a business looks like. It doesn't even begin to spin. It doesn't even begin to grow unless you get this right. And so if you feel like you are a brand new agent, you have no clients, you have no idea how to get clients, you don't have consistent clients coming to you, and you don't, you're using tactics. Like social media is a tactic. That's not a strategy. Okay. You have to apply what I'm telling you to the tactic of social media for it to work for you. Okay. So if any of this is resonating with you, then focus on starting at Marketing You. And at the end of this, I'm going to give you actually a quiz, a link to a quiz where I have a couple of questions and it'll spit out which is the most important place for you to start in your business. Which one of these 6 pillars? Okay. Cari, stop me if I should like pause for questions or if I should just keep going. Okay. So here's the deal. So many agents focus on the lead generation and they kind of let everything, I don't know, messy, confused, not systematic. And once they get a client, sometimes their clients are disappointed with the process after. And so you can't stop at marketing. And in fact, marketing is the whole process until literally there's no end to it. And so having people come to you is great, but then you need to actually make them a loyal client in 1 hour. And you do this with the correct way of doing an initial consultation. Okay, the initial consultation, most agents skip because they say, well, my clients just want to show them homes. And that's because that's what you're offering them. Okay, so if you're on a lead thing and your whole lead thing is like, let's go look at homes or call me if you're ready to buy, of course that's what they want to do. But you want to get people coming to you before that, when they're just starting to think about, well, can I buy a home? Is this the right time? That's when you want people coming to you because that's how you create loyalty. Okay, and also remember this, guys, we are replaceable if our only value proposition is opening doors. We are replaceable and we are about to be replaced with like lock boxes and cameras. And so your value proposition, what you do in your marketing has to be about so much more than looking at houses. Because buying a home is so much more about buying houses. You know this, we're just not marketing that way. Okay, so that is why the initial consultation is so crucially important. Here's what the right type of initial consultation does for you and your clients. Number 1, it establishes your authority and expertise. I don't know about you, but if all of a sudden my surgeon was just going like, hey, and then we're in the surgery, I would not trust that person at all. I want that middle conversation to be like, this is a huge deal to me. What are we doing? How are you doing it? How much is it going to cost me? What's the story here? Who the heck are you? Do I trust you? You have to come with that level. Okay, you have to clearly explain truly how it is that you're going to help specifically them. And remember, if you're marketing correctly, you've got people coming to you for a reason. You've said things like, I can help you make your first home more affordable. I've got first-time home buyer programs available for you. Let's do this sooner than you think. You have to then be able to explain how you do that. You have to create frameworks. I'm going to talk about that in the next phase. You have to create frameworks because your clients are overwhelmed. Even the ones who've bought and sold many times, I'm telling you, my service area is Washington, D.C. I've got a ton of lobbyists, lawyers, super smart people, and they are so overwhelmed with doing something like buying and selling at the same time. They don't even know, they don't know it. Okay, so you have frameworks for them to be able to they should walk out of your initial consultation like, wow, I feel so relieved. And now I have a clear path for moving forward. So speaking of clear path, the whole point of the initial consultation is clarity. Clarity about what they want to do, why do they want to buy and sell right now? Who's involved in the process? What you're going to do to make that happen? Where are they doing it? When are they doing it? And you got to explain how you're going to make that happen for them. Okay. And then you want to outline the steps very clearly for them. Again, Very smart people who you think don't need this, need this. Okay. And the most important thing, you have to make the initial consultation 100% about them, not you. I was at a coffee shop once and I randomly sat next to a real estate agent who was talking to their clients, and I could tell they were doing an initial consultation. And the whole time they talked about themselves. And I was like, I could just see this person cringing. And they were talking about how many houses they sold here. And when the person was like, I want to live in this neighborhood, he's like, oh yeah, I sell houses there all the time. No problem. That's not what people want to hear. Okay. And I specifically suggest most people are like, well, they're not going to show up. They don't want to do the initial consultation. Again, you have to give them a reason why they should meet with you. So we have a very specific 3-step process. You have to do certain things before the initial consultation, very specific things during, and then this is what's so crucial. This part right here, from the initial consultation to right here, this place, going from initial consultation to actually looking at houses, so many clients drop through. Who's had a client drop off and like not really get started? Like kind of say they want to do something, but like just fall off the radar, okay? You have to give them a homework assignment afterwards as well. You have to fill that gap between them being excited and wanting to do something and then having to go through that terrible process of getting approved, not seeing houses they like, and actually getting them in the car. Okay, so that's how we do that. So you give them a reason why they should meet with you. You assign homework assignments so they show up and they continue through the process with you. And the whole point, and I know this sounds strange, you're not talking about you, but the whole time you're actually selling them on you before, during, and after the meeting. That's how you know if your initial consultation is going. And so here's how you know if you need to kind of tweak this part of your business is if you drop everything to meet clients at houses, that has to end like literally now. It makes us all look bad and all like commodities that we can just push a button and anyone can show up. That is not our value proposition. If you are like, I don't really know, are they a client? Are they doing something? Like if there's not clarity on like exactly what they want, where they want it, when they want it, how they're going to do it, you need to work on your initial consultation or at least do them. And then if you get a ton of leads and you're not closing a ton of leads, once I put the initial consultation into my process, 95% of the people I meet with close. That's how important this initial consultation is. Okay. So if you don't have that initial consultation, people will fall out. It is a huge hole. Like imagine your business like a strainer, and these are the holes in that strainer that you have to plug. They will fall out and they won't keep going. Or they'll pretend like they're going for a little while and then they'll fall off. Especially now, anytime that people have a reason, like now high interest rates, the market's, changing, all that stuff. Anytime there's a reason, they'll take it without the initial consultation. Okay, so now you have some clients, which is awesome, but now you actually have to deliver on what they hired you to do. And so many agents think that this is not something that they can actually make a delightful, different experience for them. And it truly is. So the doing phase, right? For example, when I say, hey, I can make your first home more affordable, or hey, I've got first-time home buyer programs that I can help you with so that you don't have to pay so much or save so much for your first home. Now I actually have to do that. And I actually have to find properties for them. So for example, over the last 2 years, what was the hardest part in the doing phase? Inventory, right? So I have to know whenever there's these hurdles, how to solve that problem. Inventory is like the easiest problem to solve, I promise you. Any of those types of problems are very easily solved. And how we solve them is we don't just sit and wait for things to come on the MLS. We actually get to work and find them. Right now, the problem in the doing phase is interest rates are bumpy, right? Inventory is still low, but I don't know, is our prices going to drop? Right? You have to be able to know how to deliver on that during this doing phase. But do not jump to this. This is the point where people go from lead to doing phase. You cannot, you have to slow your people down no matter what the market's doing. That's how you get people to actually get to that closing table. And so truly, and I keep using Peter and Candace because they're right here on the top of my screen. But like Peter, if somebody works with me and somebody works with Peter and somebody works with Candace, the experience that person has should be different with each agent, not better, different. And so our job as agents is to create a process for our clients to go through, a framework. And remember I said I was going to talk to you guys about frameworks? A framework, the frameworks you create a one-of-a-kind buying and selling experience that your clients will want to tell everybody about. And that is what the doing phase should be. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of a framework I use. I have lots of frameworks, but I'll give you one example. One of the frameworks I use is called the 3-bucket strategy. And if you, in the doing phase, a lot of people get stuck because they're like, well, I can't find the house that I want, where I want it in the budget, right? And so I explain the 3-bucket strategy and I say, well, look, we've only got 3 things we could do to find you a house. We either change your budget, change your location, or change your criteria, okay? And so which one of those do you want? And I explain it more fully, but I talk about how that's the only 3 levers we can push. They have all the power. They get to push the buttons. And so if I can tell that at the end of a showing, the other thing I do at the end of every showing, I'll say things like, okay, let's go through the houses we saw and let's rate them. Which one's your favorite? On a scale of 1 to 5, how close is it to the house that you want? And then I'll say things like, well, if the market was talking, they would say like, that's a really good house. So if you're not sure that this is a good house for you, I'm not sure we're going to do any better. We might need to change that price range, right? And so you use this framework to help people feel like they're empowered, not a victim of whatever market's happening. And they start to understand, well, what would happen if I, increase the price 25,000? Oh, well, that only changes every 10,000 is about 65 bucks. So that's only going to change your payments by about 200 bucks if I'm doing the math correctly. Right? Oh, well, I could have the house I want for 200 bucks. Yes. Okay. So do you see how now you can remove obstacles? You have frameworks, and everything I just said, it like helps remove everything so that they can actually get what they want. And when they get what they want in a way that they never thought they could, and all I did was remove obstacles for them every single outing, they're going to tell everyone they know about me. And they're going to do the same for you too. Okay. So if you don't yet have, this is how you know if you've got some work to do in your doing phase. If you don't have a system for eliminating buyer's remorse, if you're always like, I hope this is the right house, right? They tell you, they're so confident. When you use these types of frameworks, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is my house. And there is no question about buyer's remorse. And you're able to say things like, listen, this doesn't fit any of your criteria. Are you sure you want to buy this house? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, okay, let's do this. You're not afraid to have those conversations. Okay. And the other, how on the seller side, seller listings should be like repeatable process. I have what's called my formula for a successful sale. I can get you the most money, no matter what the market is doing and the time that you want to move. And I'm so confident in that guarantee because I have a system and it's proven to work. And if they do what I tell them to every single step, I know the outcome. You have to be that systematic and confident in your system when you have a listing, no matter what the market's doing. Okay, and so when we don't have a doing phase, like I'm describing here quickly, you have a hole in your, people fall out big time, especially when the market changes. When the market's tough like it's been and the market's changing like it is. And by the way, the market's always going to be tough and it's always going to be changing. So you got to get this down. It never will be different, promise you. All right. So once you get your doing phase right, you have happier clients. You have more referrals. You have more repeat clients. So much less drama and stress. Zero buyer remorse. And everyone reaches their goal more quickly. Most importantly, your client. They're coming to you to buy a house. That's what the goal is here. Not the drama, not the obstacles, not the high interest rates. Cool. So now we're under contract. Hooray, everybody's happy. However, you teach your clients not to celebrate. This is not the moment to celebrate. This is the moment to get to work. And this is where you can't let the fun stop. They're fun. You have to enjoy this part of the process. And so often our clients feel like this is a dead hole of like blackness. They're like, what am I supposed to be doing? Everything's so scary. So much is pelting at me. Your job is to be like the wedding planner of the settlement. The settlement is your wedding. You are the wedding planner. Your job is to make sure that the bride doesn't know what the heck's happening behind the scenes and it looks good all the way around. Okay? You are the project manager. However, most agents spend way too much time and way too much money with this. Okay? You can do 4 to 5 transactions a month if you have the right system and you have the right CRM without an assistant, without a transaction coordinator you're paying $500 a month for, or a transaction, excuse me. Okay, so you've got to keep on top of your deadlines. You've got to be one step ahead. You have to be the one. It's nobody's job that the lender's supposed to do that thing. The title company's supposed to do that thing. None of that nonsense. You have to always be like one step ahead of what your clients are going to say next. So for example, my system here is every single week on Monday, I send an email. Every single Friday, I send an email, right? So Monday, here's who's doing what. Here's what I need from you. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what this person's doing. And here's what happened on Friday. Okay, it doesn't mean everything has to happen. Like the appraiser might not have gone out like they were planning to. I tell them at that moment, and I tell them on Friday, the appraiser's going back next week, right? There should be none of these, your clients battering you with texts about what's the heck's going on. You should be one step ahead of them. And the way that you do, there's just a ton of things to do. And so, like I said, most people spend way too much time. And so all you need is to remove that overwhelm, because if you're overwhelmed about everything that's happening and you feel stressed out, how do you think your clients feel? Right? And they feel in the dark, they've never done this before. And so what I see most agents do is they pass it off they're like, that's not my job's done here. And this is such a opportunity to build an even stronger relationship with your client. Or they spend way too much time and then they don't have enough time or energy on all the other phases that they need to be focused on, or like it's silent and their clients feel in the dark. And so the way to solve that is to have those 3 to 4 transactions a month systematized. I promise you the under contract phase is like clockwork. And so for me, this is where automation starts to come in. And my CRM, so a lot of people have a different definitions of what a CRM should do for you. A CRM, in my definition, should be the thing that tracks your transactions, your clients, your leads at every single one of these 6 pillars. Okay, so when my clients go under contract, I just push a button and I call my CRM my boss. It's my boss. My boss is telling me today I got to do this thing. Okay, I don't have to think about it. It's all right there for me. And yes, every now and then, something's not quite right or something has to be added to the system. No big deal if it's 1 or 2 things, but I don't have to reinvent the wheel every single day. Okay. This is where I promise you, if you don't have your under contract figured out, you've got a hole of time, money, and clients falling through it. Okay. So how do you get started in this phase? Define what needs to be done. Next time you're doing anything for a transaction, just write it down. Make a piece of paper for sellers, make a piece of paper for buyers, literally write down your steps, plug it into the correct CRM. I use RealVolve. It's a very good transaction manager. Push a button every single time. And then, for me, it's 22 workflows. I have 22 workflows and 127 email templates. There's no way I could reinvent that wheel all the time. Okay. Last but not least, settlement is not where your job ends. We have to actually complete the circle. Okay, and we have to serve our clients. And this is what I call the after phase. The after phase is, most real estate agents think of the after phase as keeping in touch with their past clients so that they get more clients. I argue that the after phase should be about serving your clients in the phase that they're in. Your job is to be their real estate expert. And people need help maintaining their house, figuring out, how do I do my tax assessment, right? Is it too high? Is it too low? How do I handle it? There's so much to talk to your clients about, okay? And 91% of clients never talk to their clients again. And it's not because they don't want to, it's because they don't have, at the end of the day, they don't have time. They don't have a system, okay? But here's the thing. We can't do this whole pop by, drop off coffee date stuff. Number one, it's not scalable. Number two, your clients don't want to spend time doing that. And number three, it's totally and completely self-serving. Your dentist, doctor, all the big people, financial planner in their life, they don't do that. And nor should real estate agents. You want to be the go-to real estate agent in their life, even if they aren't buying or selling anytime soon. Because if you just put them through an amazing transaction, like you've created these frameworks, you've changed their mind about what's possible for them at every stage of the process of buying or selling a house, then you don't need to ask for business. If you still are offering them service after the transaction and you've just given them a huge, you do not have to ask for business. Think about it. Whenever the last person that you referred, did they ask you for a referral? When somebody has a cute haircut, and I'm like, where do you get your haircut? That hairdresser is not popping by with cookies. They're just doing good work. Okay. And so the after phase, there needs to be two pieces of this. And this can all be a system. This can all be part of your automation and in your CRM. We've got transaction-based touch points, which are like 2 weeks after they settle, you send a thank you card, you do this on this day, whatever it is, how'd the move go? And then when you have a system where you just push a button and then it tells you what to do, and then you do it, it literally takes like 5 minutes per day. And then we also need a long-term keep in touch program. And for me, that's where my email marketing comes in. So when it's tax time, when they get their tax assessments, lo and behold, I'm sending them an email about how to challenge their tax assessment and how I can help them with a CMA. Okay, those kinds of things. So I promise you, when you get your after phase dialed in, it saves you a ton of time, saves you a ton of money, saves you face with your clients, and you create this strong bond with them that A, creates huge relationships with people, like just on a people basis. And then B, you just get clients and repeat clients. So here's how you want it, how you know that you should start here. Okay. If you think the point of keeping in touch with past clients is to solely get clients, we need a little work here. If you have so many good intentions of keeping in touch with them, but it keeps falling to the bottom and it doesn't get done, there's a system for it. You can just plug and go. And if you've done this for a long time and you aren't getting a huge majority of your clients from repeat and referrals, you've got to do some work here. Okay, last but not least, you're probably like, oh, I don't have time for all this. And you're right, you don't. And that's why being a real estate agent can be really hard and why we want to jump to a team and hire assistants so quickly. But that is why we have our favorite pillar, and that is automation. Okay, this is the part that gives you time. And I'll be honest with you, it gives you money also. I have known so many real estate agents with huge teams and no money and no time. Okay, successful real estate agents with no time and no money. It's because they rely on people instead of processes. Okay, so you have a life when you have automation, and you have even more clients if that's what you so choose. See, what happens when you start freeing up your time is you get to choose, and this is what I'm talking about with that control. You get to choose. Do I want to spend my time with my kids? I don't know, vacationing, or do you want to grow, like make more money? You're in control. Okay. So jumping to a team when you feel like you're at 4, you should not be hiring an assistant or jumping to a team unless you're doing, like, you shouldn't even be thinking about it unless you're doing 4 to 5 transactions a month every single month. Okay. That is what automation does. So first we automate, then we delegate. So what this means is, for example, that CRM, when you have that system, as I got busier and busier, first I automated the process. So it would tell me, hey, you got to send this person a note. Then once I had that set up, guess what? I could hire a part-time assistant who could work from home, and those emails just went to her, right? I automate first, then I delegate, then I scale. That makes sense? So that way I don't rely on a person. So if that person got sick, those emails just go to me. That person quit, I just put the next person and I just say, whatever email comes to you and it tells you what to do, just do that thing. Okay? Again, you have the control. Okay. feeling like, how in the world am I supposed to do all the things it takes to be a real estate agent? Just know that you do not have to be the one. You also don't have to hire somebody because that's scary. You will eventually. That's when you want to hit 7 figures. When you want to go beyond 4 to 5 transactions a month, yeah, you're going to have to hire support, but not until you hit multi 6 figures. And what this does is make your business so profitable, so hugely profitable. And by the way, there's a way to personalize all this automation. So for example, when my CRM tells me what to do, it gives me my template, but I always just spend 2 minutes going like, hey, how's it going? Like with whatever personal thing. Then I copy and paste the rest of my template, then I send it out. So rather than taking 20 minutes to write the same email over and over again about how to, do your utilities, I spend literally 30 seconds saying something helpful that just happened. Then I put my template and it looks super personal. Okay. So that is the 6 pillars of a 6-figure business. We've got to attract people with our marketing, like a magnet to you. They want to work with you, come to you. And when you do what I told you to do, that's what happens. And it's so funny. I was talking to a client I haven't talked to in a long time yesterday, and she was like, it works too well. I have stacks of cards, like people who want me to work with them. She was focused on teachers. So she would go into the schools and she was like, I got more clients than I know what to do with. That's what your business should look like. You got to convert them. You got to make them want to do what they say they want to do. You got to deliver upon the promises that your marketing and your initial consultation talked about. You got to manage that process. So it is like such a delight for your clients and for yourselves during the under contract phase. And it's like easy peasy. You got to continue to serve them as the real estate expert in their life. Okay. So I've got a little link. I'll put it in the chat, but if you're not sure, like what's the number one place I should start? And some of you will probably need to start in more than one place. But this little quiz will tell you this is the place you need most based on how you answer some questions. So you can take that quiz. And then if you have questions on anything, you can always reach out to me. And that I can put that back up. Hold on. Let me put this in the chat. There's the quiz. So Cari, is there any questions I should?
Yeah, so let me look. I have a number of people watching live. So hi to you guys. I had a couple people comment that this is gold and people tagging each other. So we have some good interaction live. No questions there yet, you guys. If you are watching live and you have a question, please chat it right now in the live stream and I'll watch it for Jennifer and ask for you. Anybody live here that has had an aha, that knows, okay, this is where my weak link is, I got to figure this piece out, or has a question, we'd love to have a little bit of interaction the last couple of minutes here. So go ahead and unmute yourself, you guys. Don't be shy.
I went really fast because I was so worried. I was like, I have 45 minutes. I'm like, I gotta go. So sorry, everyone.
Oh, it was perfect. We usually try to keep the content to 45, so we have a few minutes that we can ask questions. So you did perfect.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. It just brings me back to, I was a buyer's agent primarily on a team, and I know over these last couple of years we've all gotten to Zoom, and I think a lot of the traditional bring them into the office, the buyer consult, has gone by the wayside. And it's just a wonderful reminder because it brought me back to, not only do you set up the process, you ask for a lot of permission and give a lot of what will happen, so that when they do this thing at the inspection and you're like, oh, but remember when we talked about this, it's just really setting the foundation for so much more success in asking permission up front, or letting them know all this stuff will come, and getting their buy-in, that it just makes such a smooth transaction. And I can see when that hasn't happened, how it really is impactful the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And here's the thing, listen, we ideally want to do initial consultations in person. We do not want to do them over the phone, but I think based on how our world has changed, we're just so used to Zooming so often that doing them like exactly like you would in person and Zooming is acceptable now these days.
Yeah.
And so I would
share your screen and going through the paperwork with like you would, and then you can just send it for signatures right there. So yeah, I've done that as well. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And to your point about asking permission, I use the same email for 10 years. And so do all of my agents at my I don't have the brokerage anymore, but they did at the brokerage. And it really is asking them, would you rather, meet somewhere near your office or come to my office? And now would you prefer to Zoom? I'd be happy to do that. And so really giving them, right. It's such a beautiful way to help them feel like they're the ones who have the choice, but really you're saying like, here are the 3 options that you have, pick one. Right. So yeah, and that's really what you want each of those steps in the pillar to feel like is, and I always say like, think of your transactions almost like train cars. And if there's a crash, it's because it went off the rails in one of the other pillars.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like always having buyers like lose it or the sellers lose it during phase, it's because that initial consultation needs to be strengthened.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I think that the reminder to me, is at the end of the day, you have to have processes and systems for all the stages of your transaction. And oftentimes we only think about a couple of them. And when you have really good systems and processes, it's easier for you to plug in automation or even a staff member down the road, even a virtual assistant, and then be able to really do more transactions as an individual agent. Get your individual agents that are partnered with you in a non-traditional sense or traditional sense to do more transactions. And the processes aren't just how do I collect leads up front and then how do I basically have transaction to close work. It's all the things inside, from the communication and the follow-up and the setting expectations and the asking for reviews and referrals and like all of that, the client care, and at the end of the day, slowing down a little bit to create those automations and those systems based on how you naturally work are so well worth it. But oftentimes are overlooked. And how top performing agents do a lot of business is that they really do find those automations and those systems and processes for every stage so that they don't have to be everything to all people all the time, or they'd never have a good quality of life, and they limit themselves to the transactions that they can do.
Yeah.
Just a great reminder. Any specific questions you guys have on like a system or a process or an automation before we pop off? Anybody in the call here? I'm going to check online and see if anybody has anything. Tons of thumbs up, still lots of people watching, but no questions online yet. Anybody here? Awesome. What's one thing that you guys are going to do differently, or what's one part of your system or your process or your sales cycle or anything like that that you might go, okay, I need to do something different, or I need to spend a little bit of time. I'd love to hear that if anybody's willing to share. Don't be shy, you guys. I know you have some. Everybody's being shy today.
No, I actually just getting the CRM, getting your, you had said it, and it's something that just I've been working on and actually got help because I'm not doing a good job getting your email campaign. And I think a lot of people are going more to social and just getting used to that, whichever platform it is. And it's just good old going back to dripping on them through the email. I know a few people I'm coaching, newsletters, just different ways to stay in front of them. That's so automated and still works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a coaching client that actually takes every step of the process and goes, okay, after we show houses and what's next, and after we write an offer, what's next, and actually has created all these, here's what you should expect next, really short videos, and put that in a campaign so that when people start the process with them, they get this kind of what's next. And it's really interesting because one of the most successful ways that you can have people say they had just a wonderful customer experience, which is how you create raving fans and how you get referrals, of course, and repeat business. When people know what to expect and they're anticipating it and they know in advance, it makes that experience so much less stressful for them. Oftentimes we're telling them as we go, here's what's happening now. And that's fine. At least you're communicating. But if you could take it a step further and actually tell them, here's what's coming, you will have people that will share with you that made that experience so much better. And you want to make that experience to a level to which people don't forget about it and they don't forget you.
So there's so many upper. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, and there's so many opportunities to do that, not just in your system, but like, for example, during the holidays, so many of our buyers get so freaked out because there's no inventory, or back when the inventory was really truly dry, everybody was frantic. But
Yeah.
just reminding, hey guys, this is normal. And
Yeah.
by the way, you know, like clockwork, in February, there's going to be more houses that come on the market or whatever it is in your market. And then it happens. They're like, you're a fortune teller genius. And you're like, no, I just like see the patterns and communicate them.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. I love it. Awesome. Well, this was super, super helpful. You guys, I'm going to go ahead and grab what Jennifer put in the chat as well and make sure it is on the live stream for you all. So those of you that are watching live now or watch live later, because I know many of you are going to do that, you will have all of the information that you need. And of course, for those of you here live, go ahead and grab that now, copy and paste it so you have it. Both the quiz and the contact. Did you put your quiz and contact information, or is it in the quiz, Jennifer?
Probably in the quiz, but my contact is here.
Oh, perfect.
Jennifer
Yeah, perfect. I'm going to put it in the chat just so that people can copy and paste it if they want to as well. The best way to reach you is via email.
Email's great.
Perfect. At agentgradschool.com. Okay, perfect. So there you go. There's that too. I'm going to put both of these in live stream. And then you guys, this is going to be on my YouTube channel. Jennifer, I will get you a copy of it as well in case you want to use it for anything or share it. And you guys want to reach out to Jennifer, please do if you think she could help you. She's got a really cool coaching system going on. I just think she's an awesome human being. She's very, very organized, as you can see, and she'd be willing to kind of help you with some of the areas that you might be a little bit weak in if you think that she would be a good fit for you. So please reach out. Thanks you guys for joining. We will see you next week, Monday. We have a revenue share huddle. Don't forget about that, an EXP family tree. Thanks, Jennifer. See you soon.
Thanks so much.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you, Cari. Bye, everybody.